Somebody advised Joe Biden to give pardons to everybody but him. They wanted to take care of. Yeah, but Sean, they wanted to. I don't care.
They're yelling at me.
This is more important because right now the economy is going to do great.
I want to know about
I'm here, so the economy. But you have to understand.
All right, guys. So we got to talk about President Trump's interview with Sean Hannity. And one of the parts of the interview that I found to be fascinating is when President Trump started to talk about Joe Biden and the pardons that he gave out for basically everybody in his family. Okay, everybody that was allegedly involved in the Biden crime family, they got pardons. Plus Democrats who also, in my opinion, probably committed crimes as well too, the J6 committee and others. Everybody got pardons from Joe Biden, right? However, Joe Biden did not pardon himself. Maybe Joe Biden thought that maybe if he does that, he may be going too far, okay? It might be too obvious that he is guilty of a crime, which is what Democrats said, that pardons, pre-pardons, are an admission of guilt, okay? Which, again, you know, hey, Joe Biden seems to have pointed out a lot of people is guilty. But he didn't do it for himself. And this is something that led to Sean Hannity freaking out, as you guys saw at the beginning of this video, when Trump was kind of bringing that up, okay? And I want to go ahead and play the clip here from Fox News they put out of this conversation that President Trump was having with Sean Hannity about Joe Biden and these pardons. Take a look.
Joe Biden ran and said he would never do preemptive pardons. It was an issue that came up when you were leaving your first time.
He heard that I was going to do it. I didn't want to do it. I was given the option. They said, sir, would you like to pardon everybody, including yourself? I said, I'm not going to pardon anybody. We didn't do anything wrong. And we had people that suffered. They're incredible patriots. We had people that suffered. You had Bannon put in jail. You had Peter Navarro put in jail. You had people that suffered. And far worse than that, they've lost their fortunes. They've lost their nest egg, paying it to lawyers. And those people, and people said, and they wouldn't have even taken, most of those people, they wouldn't have even taken a pardon. This guy went around giving everybody pardons. And you know, the funny thing, maybe the sad thing, is he didn't give himself a pardon. And if you look at it, it all had to do with him. The money went to him.
Should Congress investigate that?
Well, I don't know. It's, you know,
you ordered the DOJ?
I've always been, look, he didn't give himself a pardon. And he didn't give some other people a pardon that needed it. And I heard Schiff went to him and just begged him for a pardon because Schiff is a crook. Yeah. Schiff is a crooked guy. He's a crooked politician.
Yeah, so in my opinion, I think President Trump brings up an interesting point about how Joe Biden pardoned all these people except himself, okay? Because all signs point back to Joe Biden, okay, as the big guy, right? 10% for the big guy. He's the guy that ultimately was benefiting, okay, because his name is the most important name, the most prevalent name in the Biden crime family. They were making money off of his name. His son allegedly was acting as a foreign agent on behalf of Joe Biden, okay, in order to influence peddle, okay, to make money from the influence that Joe Biden had in Washington, D.C. And as James Comer has outlined, a lot of those people that Joe Biden pardoned, they received payments from this operation.
Look, we did a report. We were very transparent with the report. I said, and was attacked by the media for saying it, that 10 different Biden family members received incremental payments that had been laundered through shell companies into their personal accounts. Now, 6 of them have just gotten pardoned. The 5 that President Biden pardoned going out the door, plus his son. In fact, the 3 spouses that were pardoned, the only place in the world their names were mentioned was in our report and in my book, All the President's Money. We detail who got the money, and in the footnotes and endnotes, it shows the pattern of how they got it. So even President Biden's own Department of Justice, when they were arguing against the January 6th releasing the January 6th prisoners, they said that a pardon would be an admission of guilt. And I think that when you're talking about Joe Biden's family, it's obviously an admission of guilt that he pardoned 6 of them preemptively. I mean, the sister, the in-laws and one brother had never been charged with anything. We only charged Hunter and Jim Biden with perjury and lying to Congress. Obviously, there are other crimes, and I write about it in the book, violation of Foreign Agents Registration Act, money laundering, tax evasion, that we believe all the family could be charged for. And I believe that someone read my book that was advising Joe Biden, and that's why they issued those pardons preemptively out the door, and they never had a press conference to talk about it. And
it's true. We didn't hear from former President Biden on this. Now, he has said that he did these pardons because he was concerned his family members would be subjected to legal and political persecution.
Yeah, so again, leaving it at CNN to run defense for Joe Biden, even going as far as to say that, hey, President Trump is sending a threat to Joe Biden.
President Trump, in a new interview, floating an ominous idea, the possibility of investigating former President Joe Biden.
This guy went around giving everybody pardons. And you know, the funny thing, maybe the sad thing, is he didn't give himself a pardon. And if you look at it, it all had to do with him. I mean, the money went to him.
Should Congress investigate that?
Well, I don't know. It's, you know,
you ordered the DOJ?
I've always been, look, he didn't give himself a pardon.
Is he threatening to investigate Biden? Did you interpret it that way?
Listen, I didn't interpret it that way at all. I interpreted him saying, having gone through the experience of what I just went through the last 4 years, what a foolish decision it was for Biden not to pardon himself given the current environment. And I think that's true. I mean, I think going forward, our partisanship is so toxic. What it is I think when a new administration leaves, they almost have to look and say, okay, how do we protect the people who've made some of these difficult decisions from these partisanship judiciary, this partisanship that takes place in the Justice Department? I think pardons becomes that answer. I think that's what he's saying. I don't view it as a threat to investigate, because you just look at the first term. He didn't do it the first term. Why would he do it the second term?
Can you imagine if Biden had pardoned himself, given the flack he's already gotten for his son pardon and his family members? How would that have looked?
Of course, it would have looked bad. It would have made it hard for a Democratic consultant like me who makes ads against Republicans for pardoning January 6 folks, because every time I bring that up now, they're going to come and everybody's going to go, well, what about all the pardons? This just goes back and forth and we never get there. Right.
Pardon family.
See there? That's what I'm saying. But this is a long stretch. Me and Terry were talking in the green room. Sorry, I'm going to bring it up. But there was a great letter that he had left the president, left to this president. Really nice. And we was talking about how nice it was. I guess we're throwing all that nice S out the window now, because now we're talking about coming after each other. Seems like we go back and forth, but in my mind, the way I think about this is it's just more red meat. You've seen the first 48, 72 hours, everything he said he's going to do, he's did it, and he just keeps shoveling more red meat to that base.
Well, you know, Sean Hannity, he wanted to move on from this point. I don't know if he didn't want him to go down this road or he had other things to talk about, including things like the economy. Listen to this moment when Sean Hannity was like, something else you want to talk about? Watch.
Somebody advised Joe Biden to give pardons to everybody but him. They wanted to take care of. Yeah, but Sean, they wanted to. I don't care.
They're yelling at me.
This is more important because right now the economy is going to do great.
You gotta love President Trump, right? He says, I don't care because the economy's gonna do great, right? I want to talk about Joe Biden not pardoning himself. Now, again, is this a threat? I'm not sure if this is a threat as much as it's just a warning that, hey, you might not be off the hook, okay? You issued out all these pardons to protect all these other people, but you forgot to protect yourself, okay? And who knows, okay? There could be some investigations into Joe Biden, but honestly, I'm not even sure that even if Trump went after Joe Biden, that Democrats would be upset, right? Would Democrats really care that much, considering how they're not really feeling Joe Biden right now? In fact, they actually want Joe Biden to go away.
Just the kind of truth of where we are. In all of it, we know Biden, but actually we know, you and I know him personally. And I think it's fair to say that we're a long time at some level admirers of Joe Biden. And what he's done to himself is no one wants to hear from this guy anymore. Okay? Right. Just go to your condo in Rehoboth and stay there. And that's not because we're bad people or we mean people. It was all his doing. All his doing. This entire thing. In this kind of petty back and forth, oh, I would have beat Trump. And no one fucking believes that at all. And then fighting with Joe Biden and Alexandra Pelosi. I mean, just look, guy, you drove to, you had a noble career. Your last act was terrible. Just get out of the way. The party's moving on. I mean, they're really moving on. And it's very sad but that's just where we are. And he created this himself. He has nobody to blame but himself.
Right.
Nobody.
Yeah, so I don't know if Trump actually tried to lock up Joe Biden, have Joe Biden thrown in prison, which, by the way, I can't lie to you guys. I'm 50-50 on it, okay? Part of me is like, you know what? Maybe Joe Biden does deserve to go to prison, right? And then part of me is like, that's elder abuse, okay? We all know that the DOJ came out and said that, listen, we can't really go after Joe Biden because, one, he's president, and two, he's too old. Okay, he's too old to stand trial. Okay, it will be elder abuse to make this man have to defend himself in court in front of a jury when it comes to him taking the classified documents that he knew at the time was not legal. Okay, and he used those classified documents in order to enrich himself by giving information to his ghostwriter to write a book in which, again, he eventually made multiple millions of dollars off of. Okay, so, you know, if Trump decided to actually go after Joe Biden, or if Republicans decided they were going to go after Joe Biden in some way, okay, if the DOJ decided they were going to go after Joe Biden, you know, I just kind of feel like it's one of those things that if it's not done after Trump has secured the border, he's conducted mass deportations, he has essentially lowered taxes, hopefully inflation gets down below 2%, right? We can figure out inflation, okay? I feel like that should be the last thing on his agenda, right? I feel like that's what he should do last. That's what you should do when you're bored, right? When you've won everything, you've done everything that you promised you're going to do, and you're like, okay, what else can I do, right? All right, Joe Biden, it's time to seek justice, okay? Because that's what it is. It's not revenge. It's justice, okay? It's 100% justice. And that's why, again, I'm on the fence, because I'm like, you know what? If Biden committed a crime, he's not above the law, right? Democrats said that nobody's above the law. Then he should be held accountable. But on the other hand, they're going to boo-hoo on and say, you just going after Joe Biden for revenge. You're just trying to get revenge, right? It's a political persecution. That's what they'll say. But it's not political persecution. It is justice. And I think that Democrats should be held accountable. I'm sick and tired of seeing Democrats get away with everything, right? Democrats need to be held accountable, okay? And maybe it could be a good idea to make an example out of Joe Biden, to let the nation know that nobody, including Democrats, are above the law, right? So I'm just saying, if it happens, okay, if they have substantial evidence of Joe Biden committing some type of crime that, you know, is worth prosecuting, going after him over when it comes to the business dealings of him and his son overseas, right? Things of that nature, and maybe other things as well, too. Then, hey, I think they should consider going after Joe Biden, because, again, it's not revenge, it's justice. But, you know, I would say from an optics perspective, right, it needs to be done once kind of everything else is done, right? Once you've accomplished everything else when it comes to making America great again, okay, then you can do that, right? Then you do that. I think that's when it makes the most sense, okay? So who knows? Maybe Trump is sending a warning shot to Joe Biden that, hey, maybe you should have pardoned yourself. Who knows? Maybe he's trolling Joe Biden. Maybe he's trying to make it hard for Biden to sleep at night. I don't know. Regardless, it would just be nice to see Democrats actually be held accountable for once. But we'll see. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.